What is up, everyone? Welcome to the video. So I finally got around to installing the Zeus all-in-one flight controller, the 13 amp in this HX115 frame. So just to go over it real quick, I'm running 3-inch props. These are Beta FPV 3x3x3s. I got the Runcam Nano 2 in here with the Zeus Nano VTX. It goes up to 350 milliwatts. 1105 5000 kV motors. Got a Beta FPV antenna in the back. So putting this thing together was actually kind of a challenge. Like I said in the previous video, they didn't label the pads, and I ended up hooking the camera up wrong, so I had to go through and resolder that, which wasn't too big of a deal. Took it out for one test flight so far, and the only thing that was going wrong with it was the XM Plus receiver inside. I had a few, well, more than a few RX losses, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I might need to remount the antennas in a better or more optimized position, but other than that, it flew great on Betaflight 4.3 stock settings. The only thing I did was turn on bidirectional D-shot and put in my rates. So the dry weight of this quad right now is 68 grams, and with a 3S from Beta FPV at 450 milliamp hour comes in at 105 grams. So no, you do not need to register this with the FAA. You can rip it around all you want, and nobody's going to give you any shit about it. So getting back to the build, some of the challenges that I came across with this was actually fitting this canopy on, because this quad is kind of a mashup, a Frankenstein quad. I kind of put it together with a bunch of parts I had laying around aside from the flight controller and the VTX. So I took the camera out of my Tiny Hawk Freestyle. The frame, I picked this up a while back when I was trying to build a toothpick with the Beta FPV all-in-one, and that didn't work out. Motors are from, well, actually the motors and the canopy are from my original Beta FPV 85X, one of the first FPV quads I got. So now I moved those parts onto here, but one of the issues I had was actually fitting this canopy around the board. I actually had to bend these legs out a little bit to get it to fit around the board, which isn't a big deal. I tried to keep it as low profile as possible to get optimal airflow, which I don't know if you could see down in there, but definitely got enough room for some good airflow, so that is a plus. Yeah, that's about it. It wasn't too bad to put together. Had to do a little bit of troubleshooting, but nothing really crazy. I do plan on putting Crossfire on this in the future as soon as I can get some more receivers. So until then, I'm just gonna have to make do with the XM Plus, and then eventually I can switch all my quads around to Crossfire, because I will tell you that coming from Crossfire back to FR Sky is a world of difference, and really makes me appreciate Crossfire that much more. Stay tuned, and let's take this outside now. Alright, so we're outside now. Let's plug in a pack and take it for a spin. We'll talk about it as we go through the flight, and I'll put the DVR down in the bottom. Alright, so right off the bat you can see that the amperage is way up there and it just stays steady. I haven't had a chance to calibrate that yet, but the battery voltage is good. I have calibrated that, but I could not figure out why the amperage was so off as it is right now, but it's not a big deal. I know I'm safe with what I'm pushing right now. This board is capable of 3 to 6S of power and 5 seconds of 15 amps. And I'm not going to be pushing that with these little 1105s. But I mean, as you can see, like, the flight is really good. Oh, there you go right there. That's the RX losses I was talking about. And that is why I want to put Crossfire in here. I'm not sure why it's doing that so bad, but you'll see it lighten up. And I never fully lose it. It does come back. But like I said earlier, I might have to just readjust the antennas, or the receivers just had it. But the good thing about these 3-inch little quads like this is they're really quiet, much quieter than the 5-inch, but they do not fly like a 5-inch. Nothing flies like a 5-inch. A 5-inch flies like a 5-inch, but it flies like a 3-inch. It's got its own flight characteristics, and I still appreciate it a lot. It feels very nimble. It's very quick. It just doesn't have the weight that a 5-inch has to throw it into some of the maneuvers that you can do with a larger quad. But nonetheless, it's still a blast to fly and plenty quick enough. And even with the stock tune, as you can see, like, I'm not really getting any prop wash, just a little bit. So I'm probably not going to do anything with this tune, honestly. This is just going to be my little micro that I plug in, and I want to rip a few packs or something and just go for it and send it. But yeah, it flies really good. And like I said, you don't have to register these with the FAA. This is 105 grams all up weight, and it is an absolute blast. And I didn't buy this one, I just Frankensteined it with a bunch of parts. Sometimes you might see a little bit of jello, or at least I'm seeing it in the DVR, because with this 85X canopy that I have on here, it only has 2 mounting screws on the left and right side. There's nothing for the front or back like the HX115 by Beta FPV, but it's not that bad. It's a little bit windy right now, so it's kind of a little bit more pronounced when I go head on with it, but it's nothing that's making the flight any less enjoyable than it is. And you can just see this thing is very quick. Alright, now I'm at 9.9. I'm going to bring it in. Oops. Alright, so this is actually a different day. I was having so much fun flying this yesterday that I forgot to film the outro and what I think about this. Well, first off, I did have a couple crashes, which wasn't a big deal. I still got the same props on there. Still flies fine. Turtle mode worked out great. Was able to get it off the grass, no problem. Fly it back to me without any issues, so that was awesome. VTX worked out really good. All in all, I think that this would be a great build if you're looking to have something small that you don't have to register and isn't super loud. The camera quality is okay, but I'm mainly going to be talking about the Zues all-in-one flight controller and how it performed. I had no issues with it whatsoever. It held up to full throttle on a bunch of punches, stayed cool the entire time, and I think it's a great product. I mean, the only issue I have with it was that it didn't have any of the pads labeled, but that wasn't really a big deal. I was able to figure it out pretty quick reading a piece of paper. I wouldn't say that something like this would be really good for a beginner. They still are pretty small pads, and if you're new to this hobby, it might be kind of difficult to solder on something like that, and it's not good to have a bunch of heat pumping into this board when you're trying to solder, or any small board like that for that matter. So I mean, if you're already comfortable flying in a simulator, or you got a smaller ducted whoop or something of that nature, and you're ready to move up, something like this is definitely fun if you don't want to be too noisy with a 5-inch. But I still think that 5 inches are awesome, so you should totally get one. Yeah, that's about it. I'll put some bonus DVR at the end of this now, so you could see the last flight that I had on this, and hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.